Global central banks have been on the trail of inflation for the last year and a half, raising interest rates nearly 500 times over that period. It's like watching a global game of whack-a-mole, because even with all that tightening, inflation here and abroad is still a significant issue. So much so that the world's leading central bank authority says that price pressures have put the global economy at what they call a critical juncture. Economic uncertainty means you have to keep up with what's happening. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll keep you in the know. The Bank for International Settlements, known as the Bank for Central Banks, has issued its annual report for 2022 and 2023. And if you were expecting the BIS to give central banks a pat on the back for how diligently they have been pursuing the worst global inflation in more than 4 decades, you'd be wrong. In the report, Augustin Carstens, general manager of the Bank for International Settlements, warned that the global economy is at a critical juncture. Stern challenges must be addressed. One prominent concern of the BIS is that the global community begins to assume an inflationary environment going forward. This condition is known as inflation psychology. In the opinion of the BIS, there is a material risk that an inflation psychology will take hold, where wage and price increases start to reinforce each other. The BIS lays much of the blame for current inflation at the feet of governments and central banks that have enacted expansionary fiscal and monetary policies for years. At a press conference where he presented the annual report, Carstens said, "Unrealistic expectations that have emerged since the 2008 financial crisis and the 2020 global health crisis about the degree and persistence of monetary and fiscal support need to be corrected." The Bank of International Settlements is not oblivious to the significant risks that can result from a stringent rate tightening regime. The BIS acknowledges that up to 40% of rate hike cycles can trigger severe stress in the banking system. In fact, what has been termed a mortgage catastrophe is unfolding right now in the United Kingdom on the heels of the Bank of England's 13th consecutive rate hike. But in a statement about the challenges facing UK households, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey said, "If we don't raise rates now, it could be worse later." It may be a coincidence, but just days after the BIS released its annual report, Chair Jerome Powell sounded as though he already moved away from the Federal Reserve's wait-and-see posture on future rate hikes. At an event held by Spain's central bank last week, Powell emphasized that inflation pressures continue to run high, and the process of getting inflation back down to 2% has a long way to go. "The easy gains have now been reaped," said Claudio Borio, a senior official at the BIS. "The last mile is going to be more difficult." We can't know for sure what the future holds for monetary policy in the U.S. or anywhere else, but the latest signs from central bankers suggest that conditions are likely to become more challenging before they improve. That's why I suggest you take the time to learn more about what's really going on in the economy by attending our exclusive one-on-one web conference at AugustaPreciousMetals.com/webconference.